Ladies and gentlemen, let's kick off today's show with a update on the Keystone Trans-Canada XL Tarsands Pipeline. And I have to tell you, folks, this update is a doozy. It's a doozy. And folks, you know me. I do not toss a word like doozy around very lightly. No. I'm not dropping bombs here, folks. No, this one is a doozy. So, Steve Horn, independent journalist Steve Horn, our good friend from the Smog blog, has a new report out on how the State Department, which is the government agency that will recommend to President Barack Obama whether or not to approve the KXL pipeline. Obama will then make the final decision himself, but the State Department, who is going to recommend yes or no on this pipeline, the State Department apparently does not know the exact route of the Keystone XL pipeline. You heard me correctly. I'll say it again if you missed it. The State Department doesn't know the exact route of the pipeline. Do you believe that? How do we know this? How do we know this fact? Well, a man in San Francisco, California, by the name of Thomas Bachand, I believe is how you say his last name. Whatever way, Thomas filed a Freedom of Information Act request for a project that he is making called the Keystone Mapping Project. He is doing this map where he's actually going to try to map out exactly what areas might be in danger of a tar sands oil spill. You know, what rivers are in danger, what streams, what forests, whatever. That's what he's doing. He's making this thing called the Keystone Mapping Project. So he made a FOIA request, and through this FOIA request, he requested a pretty simple thing, and not that hard. He requested the exact route of the pipeline. So 1.5 years later, 1.5 years after he filed his FOIA request, and yes, I'll say that again, 1.5 years later, 1.5 years after filing a request, because this is the most transparent administration ever. 1.5 years after filing his FOIA request, he finally gets a response, and that response is no. No, but it's more than that. It's more than just a simple no. I'm going to read part of his denial letter that he got from the State Department. The State Department claims that it, quote, does not have copies of records responsive to your request because the environmental impact statement for the Keystone Pipeline project was created by Cardno Entrix under a contract financed by Trans-Canada Keystone Pipeline, LP, and not the U.S. government. Neither Cardno Entrix nor TransCanada ever submitted GIS information to the Department of State, nor was either corporation required to do so. The information that you request, if it exists, is therefore neither physically nor constructively under the control of the Department of State, and we are therefore unable to comply with your FOIA request. End quote. So, folks, what this means is what I said just a moment ago, that the State Department does not know where the pipeline is going to go. They don't know where it's going to go, and they frankly don't really seem to care. It can go wherever. Put the pipeline wherever you want it. Just lay the pipe down and anywhere, over there or over there, a few feet here or there. Who really cares? Go through whatever ecosystem you want. Go through whatever river you want, whatever stream, whatever lake, whatever aquifer. Who needs a water? No, go right through the water supply. Go right through it. Go through whatever town you want. Go ahead, put it under a daycare center for all we care. What do we care, right? What do we care? And why should they care? Why should they care? Well, because, ladies and gentlemen, without knowing a simple bit of information like where the pipeline actually goes, the State Department cannot reasonably say that it did a thorough environmental impact report. The impact report, which, by the way, as we've talked about numerous times before on the show, the environmental impact report that the bloody State Department contracted out to a company called Environmental Resources Management, which, whoa, surprise, 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 is a due-paying member of the American Petroleum Institute and has direct ties to TransCanada. But that doesn't matter either. Let's get back to the revelation. The fact that the State Department does not know where the pipeline will go. How the hell can they say that they can sign off on its safety if they don't know where the hell it's going to be? What, is it going to be by a school, by a nursing home, by a river? Where? Where is it going? You want to know what happens to these pipelines? These crude tar sands pipelines? Look at Mayflower, Arkansas, which we've talked about time and time again on this show. Mayflower, Arkansas, a town that was destroyed by a tar sands pipeline spill. That town has still not recovered from its tar sands pipeline rupture. Let's ask the State Department, how many towns is this pipeline worth destroying? How many towns does it go by? Oh, we don't care. We don't care where it goes. Oh, it'll go somewhere. It'll be fine. Not even mentioning, again, the big fact, which is, of course, the carbon, that if it's released into the atmosphere, as NASA scientist James Hansen has said again and again, is game over for the environment. But who cares? Who cares where the pipeline actually goes? I gotta tell you, people, this whole pipeline process, it just, I still, I cover this stuff all the time. I cover politics. I cover, these type of process all the time. Dear God, this process for the pipeline stinks. It doesn't just stink, it reeks. It just reeks of corruption at every single solitary level. And the lazy-ass bastards, you don't even bother to get the actual location of the bloody pipeline? Not that it wouldn't matter. They had it going through the aquifer in Nebraska. I could go by a school. Who cares? Not that it matters. But I have to tell you, again, what frightens me the most, what frightens me and scares me the most, and also what simultaneously clearly angers me the most, is that when you see how truly corrupt this process is and how much our elected officials are bought and sold and paid for by dirty energy, when you see that, you see how corrupt it is, and you see just, again, the thing that still drives me crazy and it just makes my jaw drop is how truly sloppy the corruption is, how truly obvious this corruption is, how truly obvious the corruption and clear conflicts of interest are when it comes to this pipeline. The fact that I still can't get my head around is the fact that they don't even seem to be trying to hide it. That scares me. That scares me. And that fact, that's what makes me think, despite President Obama's words at his climate speech on the pipeline saying that if it has a big carbon input, he's gonna say no. All this sloppiness, all of this corruption, all this blatant mess that is this pipeline, that's what makes me think that it's already a done deal. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. We'll be right back.